But while we are focused on that, we are not going to stop looking at the southern border. Our first guest has seen it firsthand. I want to welcome in Texas Congressman Louie Gohmert. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Carl. Doing all right. Thank you.
I mean, this border crisis, it literally is a crisis. Finally, actually, Biden said it. I don't know if it was by accident, but the Senate is looking at this new Cornyn-Sinema bill on the border. What do you think about it?
Well, it's like some other plans that Senator Cornyn has supported. What it does, from what I'm reading, it actually processes people more quickly at the border, which is exactly what Presidents Biden and Harris have been advocating. And that is not stopping the flow, not stopping the dramatic surge across our border, but instead just processing them more quickly, shipping them across the country more quickly. And so, of course, you're going to get both Democrats and some Republicans that have supported amnesty before. You're going to get them working together. But that does not solve the problem of America being overwhelmed by people coming in legally. Right. It doesn't stop the luring of people to their detriment.
Right, and we got Congressman Devin Nunes coming up later in the show. Just a pre-tape from him from Grant Stinchfield, and he was talking about the fact that, like, look, these places are just overrun. I mean, we have places at 1,000, 1,600% capacity. We've got kids jammed into these rooms that are only supposed to hold 30 or 40. They're holding 250, 300, 400 people. I mean, at some point, can't they just say, look, guys, you open the gates. People are wearing, like, Biden let me in T-shirts coming across the border. I mean, obviously they're well funded. Why can't we take some of that funding and just fix the darn problem?
Exactly, and the problem is the open border, the open invitation to come. And even when Biden says, well, why don't you hold up for a little bit, the message they get south of the border is, come on now, quickly, so you can be some of the first groups we give amnesty to. Right. And that's what we're seeing. So the proposal by Senator Sinema and Cornyn, it's touted as a fix, but until you secure the border, you haven't fixed anything. Right. You're just processing people more quickly and shipping around, which is why the Border Patrol says the drug cartels call the U.S. government their logistics for the drug cartel, because the cartels get them across the border and then the U.S. government ships them all over the country.
That's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. So your fellow Texan, former President George Bush, was actually critical of our current approach at immigration. I want you to take a look at this.
It's a beautiful country we have, and yet it's not beautiful when we call people names and scare people about immigration. Yeah. It's an easy issue to frighten some of the electorate, and I'm trying to have a different kind of voice.
I mean, what do you make of this? He's gone back and forth. Obviously, Trump was hardline. He was not pro-Trump. I think he's kind of waned on his conservative principles in his age. I used to have a lot of respect for the man. What do you think?
Well, I've always liked President Bush, and he has a great intellectual capacity, unlike what some people said. But what you're hearing, it sounds like a man who watches CNN, MSNBC, reads Washington Post, and New York Times. So if you get stuff in to your computer that is not true, then you're going to have things come out that are not the best opinions. And as you know, Carl, he also called us isolationists and nativists. Yeah. For heaven's sake, I'm not. President Trump certainly is not. Look at the businesses he's established, the people that he hires, where he goes. He's not an isolation. He's not a nativist.
Right. Well, 2 out of 3 of his wives are immigrants. So, I mean, like, come on, man. Yeah. I mean, that talking point doesn't hold up to me.
Exactly.
I want to get your take real quick. Sorry, Congressman, I want to get your take real quick before we go. Congress just passed this bill to make D.C. a state. They say D.C. pays a lot of taxes, and there's no taxation without representation. Now, here's the facts and data that conservatives do. You proposed alternative plans. Talk about that.
Well, I did in the first term that the Democrats had the majority and were bringing up statehood or some type of full representation. I said, look, this was what the founders intended, but they're right. There should not be taxation without representation. In every other territory, whether it's Puerto Rico, Guam, Mariana Islands, all of the places that do not elect a full voting representative do not pay federal income tax. When I realized that, I filed a bill that would eliminate federal income tax for people in the District of Columbia.
Right.
But even Eleanor Holmes Norton will not sign on to my bill. No Democrats will. I've got Republicans that support it because it's the fair thing to do. So, Carl, when you hear Democrats say you either support D.C. being a state or you're for taxation without representation, wrong. The Democrats that do not support my bill, they are for taxation without representation. If they were not, they would get on my bill. And I've told Eleanor, look, I know you want statehood, but look, at least let's agree to stop taxing D.C. residents until such thing ever happens. She won't sign on to my bill. So the Democrats are the ones supporting taxation without representation, not Republicans. It's Democrats.
It's the true conservative liberal ideology. You, sir, are a true conservative. You want to cut government. You want to stop taxing people and give them what they're owed. And the Democrats want to expand government and continue to tax people. So, Texas Congressman Louie Gohmert, we appreciate you joining us, as always.
Great call. Thank you. Good to be with you.
All right.